Hello and welcome back on Bernama today. You're still with me, Elena Abdullah, and in the studio I have another special guest. Earlier we spoke about happiness, now we're talking about integrity. We have Puan Wahayu binti Haji Abdul Wahab. She is the Director of Corporate Communication Division for the Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission. It sounds quite large, EAIC. Hello and welcome to the show, Puan. How are you doing today?
I'm good, inshallah. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you very much for coming in and to join us for this show. Now let's talk a little bit about EAIC, and it's called the Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission. Could you tell us a little bit more about EAIC, its roles and its functions?
Okay, actually EAIC is a federal statutory body which has been established officially on the 1st April of 2011, which is in accordance with the enforcement of the Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission Act 2009, which is called Act 700. So our roles and functions is actually to monitor and also to investigate public complaints upon any misconduct or misbehave of any of enforcers, enforcers officers, or any and also enforcement agencies, which is listed under our Act. There are 21 agencies altogether under our supervision.
21 agencies, so I'm not going to list them down. They're really long. I see here, it covers quite a large number of agencies, all the way from the National Anti-Drugs Agency all the way to Royal Malaysia Police, which comes under your purview as well. So essentially everybody is subject to EAIC under this law, isn't it? Now, I understand that the establishment is in line with the government's effort to, create this culture of integrity. But I think one of the things that I had in terms of my question when I was looking at this is there are quite a number of agencies that could potentially have an overlap in terms of its functions. But before we go into that, let's talk about the agencies. The agencies that are prescribed under here, you said 21.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are the number of complaints, the most number of complaints that you guys have received? From which agency would that be?
Okay, and actually as of so far, Penny, we have the largest complaint that we have is regards to PDRM.
Of course.
but we need to be very fair to PDRM because because these complaints is accordingly to their the large of number of officers that they have all across the country.
Yes, and everywhere.
And in fact, PDRM is also the agency which close to public, very close to public compared to other agencies which is listed under our purview. So and I would like to share this information to all Malaysians or to anyone who's been watching. Please log to our website www.eaic.gov.my, and the statistic and the number of complaints is being updated every single day. So for you guys to have the clearer picture, which agencies, what number of complaints, everything is in there.
So it's transparent. It's available online.
It's very transparent.
The website has a live update of the number of complaints. And who are you able to view your complaints? Because let's go to the complaints department. How would one complain if they have any grouses? Who can lodge a complaint? Is it only a specific person, or is this an open complaint?
According to the section 23(1) Act 700, anyone could lodge the complaint. Anyone could refer the complaint to EAIC.
About anything?
But whatever it is, it must be within those 21 agencies under our purview. So and another event, anyone also may refer the complaint on behalf of
someone else. So if, for example, someone has been done some injustice to, if they don't complain, someone who views it would like to complain is able to do so. They are encouraged to do so because we need this information from the public. And there are certain public, they are a bit they're not sure, they're confused, they are scared sometimes. So anyone could assist them to lodge a complaint on behalf of the person. We'll go to that in a bit in terms of talking about anyone who has fears about coming forward. I think there is also something that covers them as well. But we'll talk about what are the types of cases that EAIC handles? Because, you know, before we talk about the different agencies that could have, who takes care of integrity as a whole, what types of cases that EAIC in particular handles?
Okay, we handle any action or inaction by any of enforcement officers.
Okay, so it covers any action or inaction by an enforcement officer within those 21 agencies?
Exactly.
Okay.
And any base mistake of law or fact, you know, and then any grounds should have been given but were not been given, any unreasonable, unjust or oppressive actions that been taken up to any of the publics, and also failure of enforcement officer to follow the rules and procedures that has been laid down on the appropriate authority. You know? And another event also complaints for such event that complaints are not being taken properly by the enforcement agency or failure to record the details given by the complainant.
If somebody you know, made it a little bit like Remy, like, you know, it's no big deal. So this is a complaint that you can bring up about them as well.
Yes, and there are also in event that any complaints that been you know, taking less than 1 or 3, less than 3 days of accomplishment, and they just close the case. You know, so they also can refer to us for us to do the further investigation.
I see. So there are quite a few cases that you can bring a complaint forth towards an enforcement officer who is supposed to discharge their duties in a proper procedure. There are manners and there are steps in order for them to go through. But like you said earlier, some people aren't aware that those are the steps that need to be gone through. They aren't aware that they will have rights to, you know, have this kind of you know, investigation done for them, or this kind of action taken for them. A lot of people, especially I think Malaysians, are unaware of what they can and cannot do.
Actually, you know, because there are few agencies who's taking charge of complaints and so on, and that's why maybe they are confused.
Yes.
Yeah, they get confused, and sometimes they do not know to whom they can rely on to.
Yes, and who can they trust?
Yes.
Who can they refer to?
Yes.
You know, the first question that came to my mind when I saw EAIC, it sounds a little bit overlapping with what MACC does, because I think maybe because MACC is a little bit more public, a lot of people hear about it. Maybe because of recent agendas, recent scandals, and MACC seems to be more publicly recognized as an agency
because
that takes care of complaints.
MACC has been established more than 15 years.
Yes, slightly longer.
I know. I mean, for one reason, and one more thing is I mean the news, you know, the coverage about MCC has been established for years compared to us. This is our 5th year. So, but I believe this is a healthy progress that we have foreseen and discovered, whereby there are more publics came to us. For complaints, for issues, you know, for sometimes for opinions and advisors. And as EAIC, we are solidly doing the investigation of the 21 enforcement agencies that have been listed under our Act.
So how is it different? Can we tell the difference in terms of what are EAIC's roles, and where does MACC come in? Are they overlapping? Are they not? Are they completely different?
It's not overlapping at all. Because MACC is solidly concentrating on corruption.
EAIC no?
EAIC no. But in case if there's any complaints that we receive
about corruption,
regards to corruption, we're going to channel to MACC.
Right. So MACC is strictly for corruption, because it's called the Malaysia Anti-Corruption Commission.
Exactly.
Right. So that's MACC.
Yes.
So anything related to corruption goes to MACC. But anything else beyond corruption, if it's, you know, poor discharge of duties, will fall under EAIC.
Yes, and which is within those 21 agencies under our Act. And in fact, we EAIC practice no wrong door policy.
No wrong door, what's that?
All right then. Meaning which, there are times that we receive complaint. There's nothing. It's not under our purview.
Right.
But we will take charge on that. We will channel to the respective department, and we will update the progress to the complainant from time to time. And the respective department also or agency need to update us on the progress that they've been taken upon their investigation.
So EAIC takes it upon themselves if there are complaints that come in that it's not within their jurisdiction, that you would look for the right people and follow up with the right people, so that whoever complains will have some kind of update and solution.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But we don't do the investigation. The respective department do the investigation.
That's the investigation.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about quickly in terms of there are few differences in terms of there are few channels for the public to come forth for complaining. So besides EAIC and MECC, I understand that there's also PCB and IIM, all this short form. So PCB for the Public Complaints Bureau and the IIM at the Malaysian Institute of Integrity, which is Integrity. How are they different in terms of PCB as well as Integrity?
Okay, PCB actually they receive complaints against government administrative matters.
Right.
You know, and it will cross across all agencies or ministries. You know, IIM, Institute Integrity Malaysia, or been known as Integrity now, is an institute whereby doing research for the integrity awareness.
Okay.
Integrity practice, and this is regards to the National Integrity Plan, NIP actually. So these are the role between PCB, Public Complaint Bureau, and also IIM.
Right. What I understand from one of the shared tables is that EAIC and MECC does investigation, whereas PCB and IIM does not take on the role of investigative duties. It just has no investigative powers, correct?
Yes.
So in terms of if PCB receives a complaint, do they channel it then to EAIC?
So far, yes. If there's any complaints regards to those enforcement agencies under our purview, yes, we will.
Okay, so they would be also part of the channeling arm.
Yes,
so,
yes.
There is a cooperation happening between all.
Yes, but I would say Malaysians nowadays, they are very smart.
Oh, okay.
They are very aware.
All right.
They just get direct to us.
Right. Okay.
And I think this is a good sign.
Okay.
You know. But anyway, EAIC, PCB, MECC, IIM, we work together.
Right.
You know, the main goal, the main achievement would be the best practice. By our service provider towards our rakyat. That is our main goal. You know, so whatever it is, we always work in hand to make sure this establishment of the integrity among our armed forces officers is well kept.
That's great. Now, we will take a short breather now. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the procedures of how you can make a complaint. Stay tuned for that. We will be right back.
Harga ni RM120.
Betul, Cik?
Mahalnya. Panggil manager awak.
Ya, saya ada di sini. Ada apa-apa boleh saya bantu Puan?
Setahu saya, masa Mac hari tu, harga baju ni RM100. Kenapa sekarang dah jadi RM120?
Puan, sebenarnya sekarang kita dah ada GST. Harga yang kami letak dah termasuk dengan GST. Jadi kami terpaksa naikkan sedikit.
Termasuk GST bermakna RM106. Tapi sekarang kenapa harga dia RM120? Ada peningkatan sebanyak RM14 kat sini. Ni mesti ada unsur pencatutan.
Apa tu?
Pencatutan. Tak apa, saya nak buat aduan dekat KPDNKK. Assalamualaikum. KPDNKK.
The Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission is a federal statutory body established on the 1st of April 2011. This agency was formed in line with the government's mission to uplift the enforcement officers and the enforcement agency's integrity from the root, thereby to strengthen the confidence from the public towards these agencies. The Commission's vision is to become the pioneer in enforcing, transforming and inculcating integrity among the Malaysian enforcement agencies based on professionalism and best practices. The mission of the Commission is to strengthen the service delivery system with integrity amongst the Malaysian enforcement agencies through the management of complaints and investigations in a transparent, bold, dutiful and professional manner. The main function of the Commission is to ensure every misconduct reported against enforcement officers or enforcement agency is investigated thoroughly in order to protect the interests of the public. It is also a body established to place a mechanism for the detection, investigation and prevention of misconduct by enforcement officers. The Commission is also responsible to study any infringement of enforcement procedures and to propose recommendations. The Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission is mandated to receive and investigate public complaints of misconduct against 21 enforcement agencies under its purview. Misconduct of enforcement officers or enforcement agencies that can be referred to this commission are any act or inaction that is contrary to any written law, unreasonable, unjust, oppressive or improperly discriminatory, committed on improper motives, irrelevant grounds or consideration, fails to follow rules and procedures laid down by law or appropriate authority, the commission of any criminal offence. There are 3 stages of action in the complaints and investigation management. First stage, Operation Division, Complaints. The Complaints section is responsible for assessing and evaluating the complaints of misconduct received. Second stage, Complaints Committee. The Complaints Committee is responsible to conduct initial investigation on each complaint and propose recommendations for the Commission's consideration. Third stage, Commission Meeting. The Commission Meeting will evaluate the recommendations proposed by the Complaints Committee and decide in accordance to Section 27 of the Act 700 as to whether the complaints should be referred to the disciplinary authority of the appropriate agencies or Malaysian Anti-Corruption Agency or public prosecutor, or fully investigated or rejected. With the establishment of this commission, the aspiration of the government's efforts to ensure the culture of integrity amongst the enforcement agencies and its officers can be cultivated, thereby strengthening the public's confidence towards the agencies.
And you're back with us, and we're still speaking to Puan Wahayu, the Director of Corporate Communications Division for the Enforcement Agency Integrity Commission, or EAIC. Hello Puan, how are you doing? We're back to talk about integrity. And earlier we spoke about, pretty broad strokes about what EAIC is, how its roles are, and if there are any overlapping with other agencies. And I think we established that EAIC would be the main body to be able to go to if you have complaints about the 21 agencies that are under your purview. And I think in the corporate video that we had earlier, there are steps in terms of what happens when someone makes a complaint to EAIC in terms of the transparency, in terms of the investigation reports. So now let's talk about the next one. Agencies already have their standard operating procedures, right? So how does EAIC improve on their enforcement procedures and to encourage integrity among the officers itself?
Okay, so referring to your question, we always monitor and also reviewing the working procedures of our agencies under our purview.
Right.
And the best example that the other day, we also have reviewed the procedures in the lockup and detention center involving the police department and also immigration department.
Right.
And recently we also has conducted a study on this Perintah Tetap Ketua Polis Negara, or also being called as PTKPN bahagian A118, and Perintah Tetap Ketua Polis Daerah Timur Laut Pulau Pinang, with the regards to our investigation of James Ramesh and also Endam and Rendeath in the police custody. Actions is just to ensure all the procedures are well implemented in the lockup, and lockup administrative and is consistent and comply with the lockup rules of 1953. We also, based on our findings, we also has made some recommendations for the lockups administration's improvement. We also have forwarded this recommendations to the PDRM and also a few other enforcement agencies, which with lockups and for their reference and also for their action. And we also, at the same time, we always have a close discussion with the higher level of each agency under our purview from time to time. And during this discussion, we're going to discuss and share the situation, the issues, that they can enhance, they can amend, they can improve. This is with the top management, and we also have few dialogue sessions, with the enforcers officers itself. So this is how we do our monitoring and making sure everything falls on the right place.
To improve it further. Now, one of the things is when we talked about the enforcement officers itself, how do you prevent misconduct among them? Because that's one of the key roles. You have all these rules and regulations, you have all the SOPs in place, but in order for it to actually function or to be effective, it needs to be enforced by the people that are upholding those rules and regulations.
Okay, definitely series of visits.
Series
of visits, or shall I call it as a spot check?
To
those agencies. And in fact, we have made to several spot visits to Immigration Detention Center, and Puspen, which is under the National Anti-Drugs Discovery, National Anti-Drugs Agency, such as in Macap Umbu, Semenyih, Langkap, Karak, and also Tampin recently. So during these spot checks, also based on the findings that we had, another close discussion, another recommendation also been given, and few consultations, how, and at the same time also we are trying to help, whichever they think or that they lacking of, we will try to propose to the government
some solutions.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I think one of the questions we had earlier for people who had fears, or people who are afraid to come forward because they don't know what their rights are and what they are able to achieve, whether or not they have been taken advantage of. I think one of the clearest act that has been implemented lately was the Whistleblowers Act. Now, what protection does EAIC offer to those who come forward, the whistleblowers, so to speak?
Okay, EAIC has been identified by the Legal Affairs Division of the Prime Minister's Office, with 6 other agencies to enforce this Whistleblowers Act and the Witness Protection Act. So with that move, we believe that we will able to encourage more whistleblowers amongst the public, and also amongst an officer of any agency to come forward, because they are well protected. There's no issue. Any information that be given will be leaked to any other parties. It's between them and only EAIC, because this Whistleblower Act is protecting them. So no worries.
And the other question I had was in terms of how do you ensure that the people that are upholding this, which is the EAICs and the MACCs, are themselves of integrity and are themselves, beyond reproach in that sense?
Okay. Well, I would say we should know what is our responsibility, you know, what do we need to do, you know, and whatever we are doing, we are being watched by public.
Right.
Okay, so always on the right track, follow the right procedure.
Right.
You know, I mean the honesty and sincerity is the key to whichever that we are doing.
Thank you so much, Puan. And we hope that, you know, we will see more people coming forward, the improvement of services by agencies and also the government officials, so that, you know, we have a better community working towards, and public need to do their part as well to be able to come forward as well. Thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for this show.
I would like to get more more visitors to our website.
Right.
You can log to our website www.eaic.gov.my, so you can get whatever information that you need, or any complaints that you need to lodge. Please get to our website and please come forward for more issues that we can to assist you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right.
That's all the time that we have. Thanks for staying with us till the end of the show. Bye for now.
A brand new show covering all aspects in education. With your host, Cikgu Nazim. He's vibrant, he's smart, and he's funny too. Educational quotes from Cikgu Mariam.